Good evening, and welcome to another episode of MXDTV. This is episode 15. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, MXD. We took last week off, which I decided to do kind of at the last minute. But it looks like I got a thumbs up from my executive producer. Anyway, we took last week off, which was really nice. I actually got to spend I get to spend a lot of time with Mary Scout and my wife, but I spent more time with them. So welcome to the show. I have some things planned, and I'm actually, hold on, I've got an itch on my back. Okay, I'm going to start with something. I'm going to read you these song lyrics. I've been listening to the Mountain Goats a lot. One of my favorite bands, probably top 3 for me, is a band called the Mountain Goats, and it's the songwriter is a guy named John Darnielle, who's one of my heroes. I don't know if that's the right word, but I admire him. I admire his songs and I admire his work. And for my money, he's maybe the best songwriter around these days. Well, let's put it this way. He's as good as anybody. There's awfully good songwriters. But I'm going to read you the song lyrics to a song because I don't have them memorized yet. Otherwise, I would just play the song for you. But I can't read and play a song at the same time. So I have to either have it memorized or I can't do it. But I think these lyrics are important to tonight's show. And I'd like to start the whole show by reading them. It's off of one of his earliest records. I'm not sure. He has so many records and they're hard to keep track of. But his first records that he did, he recorded them on his boombox with just himself and his guitar. And this is from an album called All Hail West Texas, I believe is the name of the record. And this is a song called The Best Ever Death Metal Band in Denton. And these are the words to that song. Maybe next week I'll play it if I have it memorized. But these words are important to me and to you too, I think. So I'm going to read these words. This is from a song called The Best Ever Death Metal Band in Denton. It goes like this. The best ever death metal band out of Denton was a couple of guys who'd been friends since grade school. One was named Cyrus, the other Jeff, and they practiced twice a week in Jeff's bedroom. The best ever death metal band out of Denton never settled on a name. But the top 3 contenders after weeks of debate were Satan's Fingers and the Killers and the Hospital Bombers. Jeff and Cyrus believed in their hearts they were headed for stage lights and Learjets and fortune and fame. So in script, they made prominent use of a pentagram. They stenciled their drum heads and guitars with their names. And this was how Cyrus got sent to the school where they told him he'd never be famous. And this was why Jeff, in the letters he'd write to his friend, helped develop a plan to get even. When you punish a person for dreaming his dream, don't expect him to thank you or forgive you. The best ever death metal band out of Denton will in time both outpace and outlive you. Hail Satan. Hail Satan tonight. Hail Satan. Hail. Hail. I don't know how John Darnielle does it, but he makes me laugh and cry all at the same time, all the time. And so I just love that song. Do yourself a favor and listen to it. It's great. And it makes me want to read my own little thing here that I wrote. I wrote this quite a bit ago. It's maybe It's the first blog post on my website that you can read. And it's taken, a piece of it is taken for the first track on Wildwood Road, the we drove out through the dust part. And I took it from this longer piece that I'd written, and it's called We Drove Out Through the Dust. I'm going to read the whole thing. It's not that long. The funny thing is I can't find the file for this, so I had to go to my website and print it off of my website. But this is called We Drove Out Through the Dust. We drove out through the dust, beyond the abandoned buildings and filthy warehouses, into the kingdom of grapes and the luminous peach trees where my mother is buried, and the chain-link fence bends down beneath the weight of an ancient tree. I laughed at the names. Timothy Buck II and John Marvin Blue. There were sisters and brothers, mothers and fathers, and orphans and criminals and soldiers and the forgotten. They are all buried there. I stayed on as long as I could, and then I finally left and moved north, where the San Joaquin cut the city in half. It was there the days got longer and longer until one fused into the next, and the methamphetamine the bikers were making kept me up for days. I found a black widow nesting under the arm of my couch. I smashed all the mirrors with beer bottles and ripped out the sink. I started to twitch and shake. My apartment, the one owned by Peter Harlow, was filled with people coming and going. There was Cleats and Kid Durango and Jason and Gypsy and the most enigmatic Lisa, who would blow into town from time to time with a different hairstyle and a different look and a different car and a purse full of credit cards that didn't belong to her and a pound of uncut glass shards of methamphetamine. And she would stay until we had done our share, when the rest was ready for the bikers, and then she'd be gone again. And I never knew when she was coming back. I finally left town, and I left all my stuff behind and moved down south to try to start over again. I started running long distances up and down the beach and on the boardwalk, and I would run all the way downtown through the baseball park and back home. I went to work for the Greek lady, and I went back to school and wrote poems again and started playing the guitar again. And it almost stuck until it didn't. And then I was off and running, and that was the last one, and it was a doozy. And the twitch came back, and there were tombstones in my eyes. I was talking to every ghost I had made, and the ones that had been following me around. And mostly I was in conversation with my constant companion, Mr. Sorrow, who wanted me dead, and he talked to me about it all the time, and it was our favorite subject. Somehow, though, and here is where it gets strange, because I mean really strange, because every bone in my body was pliant and tender, and it hurt to touch anything, and there were bugs crawling all over me, and my right side was paralyzed, and I was twitching and talking to ghosts, and then, for no reason at all, except I wasn't ready to die just yet, I guess, I walked into a room and started talking and talking. I got my guitar out of Hawk. Really, it was Russ that got it out, but I got it out, and I started listening to Thelonious Monk, and I started writing poems again. I went to work in the fucking grocery store, stacking beer, and telling everybody I was okay when I wasn't. And I started running again, and I was listening to Thelonious Monk, and I was trying to write poems again. And then she walked in. I wanted to start with that tonight. Well, those two things tonight, because I had a conversation with Melanie and recently, and I know that I'm a broken record when it comes to stories, my own, and I just keep telling them over and over and over, telling them and retelling them and rewriting them. And I told Melanie I would really love to be done with these stories, but I'm not done with them. They're not done with me. And a lot of it's made up, A lot of it is true and a lot of it is made up, and I forget which one's which. And I don't think it matters anymore because I'm trying to tell the truth. And we'll talk more about that. We'll consult Tim O Brien about that soon. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, and I'm going to play what I think is the first story I started telling over and over and over again. Grapes cut a long green scar across the face of the valley floor. And like all wounds, it tells the story, the song of how the West was won. 'Cause out in California, you find the sun. Harbor towns, a killing floor, washed with methamphetamines, and all the longshoremen's hands, they bleed through a cracked glove upon the wheel. 'Cause out in California, you find the sun. Up north, the capital gain, make the rules for everyone. And a man with a suit and a chain, well, he's with you, then he's gone. Crowned with a head full of thorns, Sodom and maybe Gomorrah. 'Cause out in California, they spend their nights in bars, and they ride off in a stretch limousine. Maps to the movie stars, they wanna make you believe that out in California, out in California, out in California, we find the sun. Let's see. Oh, hey, there's Peter. Hey, Peter. I knew somebody would comment on this guitar there. My wife sent some hearts. Peter from Vermont. How's it going, buddy? So I'm going to just play a couple others that I play a lot. And I'm going to play them again. The room was rich with magazines. The chain had been released, and in the darkness you could see the fingers sick with rings. There were no more wedding bells. The planes had split the trees. They sat on the edge of the bed with the queen of the London sea. It was a time of infamy, a time of fallen kings. In the courtroom, had been laid bare. Truth had been decreed. Thought you might get away. We thought that you might break free. That's when you found out that you'd been ensnared by the queen of the London sea. In the orchard, while you dreamed, a shadow did appear, and there was something cold and dark poured in your ear. You tried to listen and you tried to hear. There were only screams and a mouthful of bad advice from the queen of the London sea. I play that song a lot. I play those first two songs quite a bit. And I just keep doing them over and over. You know, I sometimes start to think I need to apologize for that, or but it's all part of it for me. I think I need to just keep playing them, and we'll get to something else, but I don't know what I'm saying. There's John Light. Let's see what he's saying. Right. That's right, John. John's got it. It's a funny thing, man. This song, this story, this piece, it is totally true. It may not have happened, but it is totally true. That's the subject for tonight, by the way. What actually happened, I'm not sure if it matters. So parts of it are true. People are combined. People are combined or made up, or they represent lots of different people. I heard Melanie just recently went and saw the Basquiat exhibit in New York City, and we're both huge fans of Basquiat, and like most people who have ever seen his work are, and he's almost mythical, you know. And, if you've never seen the movie, there's a great movie with Jeffrey Wright, who's one of the great actors, I think, of our time. He plays Basquiat, and Benicio del Toro plays his buddy. And I've heard stories that the Benicio del Toro character in the movie represents a couple of his friends kind of combined. Maybe Vincent, I can't think of his name now. Anyway, I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to play one more song that is an older song. And in the Queens of Coming and Going, the song I just played, it's funny, I wrote this song first, but I believe I'm addressing that particular woman I'm speaking of, who represents many people I knew. She's miles away, and the burning fever's dawn from the heat waves and the freight train, and time and space. Well, it turns and it teeters on, and the wheel takes a slightly different turn away. Hey, what's that speed she's driving on? What's that sound that keeps her hanging all along by the freeways? What's that speed she's driving on? What's that sound that keeps her hanging all along by the freeways and the freight train? She stayed too long. She stayed too long. Stayed too long. What's going on? Melanie's sending me a message. I gotta receive. Yes, that's it. Not Vincent Price. That was Melanie wrote Vincent Price, and I was almost laughing while I was playing that song because it's not Vincent Price. It's Vincent Gallo. Right. Well done, Melanie. I've heard that the Benicio del Toro character is a combo of Vincent Gallo and a couple other guys. Anyway, yes, Vincent Gallo. Good research, Melanie. That's what executive producers do behind the scenes. Oh, okay. So I wanted to play those songs, and now we're going to address this. Sorry, I'm touching my nose, but you know how it goes. That's what I do. Um, I want you all to know also that I briefly tried to not wear a hat and just put the headphones on over my hair without a hat, and it can't be done. It just is not going to work out. So I'm just going to always have this hat on because I just look crazy. Crazier than I already look, but with just the hair, I look insane. And I'm going bald too, so it just looks weird. And this is as weird as this looks. This is the better alternative. So, thanks again for tuning in. It's good to be back doing this. It feels really great to be doing this and to be here again. I think it was good to take a week off. I think I needed it. It's good to be your own boss. I think. So anyway, I'm going to read, I think, the most important story from one of the most important writers, at least in my life, from a guy named Tim O Brien. And I think I've read some stuff from this before, but this is a collection of short stories about Vietnam. Tim O Brien was in Vietnam, and this is a collection of short stories that they has all the same characters. It's not necessarily in order temporally, but it just there's a unity to it that's really amazing. And I've always wanted to do something like this, but I don't know if I'll ever finish it. But the story I'm going to read from, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this book is called The Things They Carried, and I'm going to read from a story called How to Tell a True War Story. I'll try to put my glasses on here. This is called How to Tell a True War Story, and it speaks for itself. It goes like this. This is true. I had a buddy in Vietnam. His name was Bob Kiley, but everybody called him Rat. A friend of his gets killed, so about a week later, Rat sits down and writes a letter to the guy's sister. Rat tells her what a great brother she had, how together the guy was, a #1 pal and comrade. A real soldier, Rat says. Then he tells a few stories to make the point, how her brother would always volunteer for stuff nobody else would volunteer for in a million years, dangerous stuff, like doing recon or going out on these really badass night patrols. Stainless steel balls, Rat tells her. The guy was a little crazy for sure, but crazy in a good way, a real daredevil, because he liked the challenge of it. He liked testing himself, just man against gook. A great, great guy, Rat says. Anyway, it's a terrific letter, very personal and touching. Rat almost bawls writing it. He gets all teary, telling about the good times they had together, how her brother made the war seem almost fun, always raising hell and lighting up villas and bringing smoke to bear every which way. A great sense of humor, too, like the time at this river when he went fishing with a whole damn crate of hand grenades. Probably the funniest thing in world history, Rat says. All that gore, about 20 zillion dead gook fish. Her brother, he had the right attitude. He knew how to have a good time. On Halloween, this real hot, spooky night, the dude paints up his body all different colors and puts on this weird mask and hikes over to a ville and goes trick-or-treating almost stark naked, just boots and balls and an M16. A tremendous human being, Rat says. Pretty nutso sometimes, but you could trust him with your life. And then the letter gets very sad and serious. Rat pours his heart out. He says he loved the guy. He says the guy was his best friend in the world. They were like soulmates, he says, like twins or something. They had a whole lot in common. He tells the guy's sister he'll look her up when the war is over. What happens? So what happens? Rat mails the letter. He waits 2 months. The dumb coos never writes back. A true war story is never moral. It does not instruct nor encourage virtue, nor suggest models of proper human behavior, nor restrain men from doing the things men have always done. If a story seems moral, do not believe it. If at the end of a war story you feel uplifted, or if you feel that some small bit of rectitude has been salvaged from the larger waste, then you have been made the victim of a very old and terrible lie. There is no rectitude whatsoever. There is no virtue. As a first rule of thumb, therefore, you can tell a true war story by its absolute and uncompromising allegiance to obscenity and evil. Listen to Rat Kiley. Coos, he says. He does not say bitch. He certainly does not say woman or girl. He says coos. Then he spits and stares. He's 19 years old. It's too much for him. So he looks at you with those big, sad, gentle, killer eyes and says, coos, because his friend is dead and because it's so incredibly sad and true, she never wrote back. You can tell a true war story if it embarrasses you. If you don't care for obscenity, you don't care for the truth. If you don't care for the truth, watch how you vote. Send guys to war, they come home talking dirty. Listen to Rat. Jesus Christ, man, I write this beautiful fucking letter. I slave over it, and what happens? The dumb coos never writes back. The dead guy's name was Kurt Lemon. What happened was, we crossed a muddy river and marched west into the mountains. And on the third day, we took a break along a trail junction in deep jungle. Right away, Lemon and Rat Kiley started goofing. They didn't understand about the spookiness. They were kids. They just didn't know. A nature hike, they thought. Not even a war. So they went off into the shade of some giant trees. Quadruple canopy. No sunlight at all. And they were giggling and calling each other yellow mother and playing a silly game they'd invented. The game involved smoke grenades, which were harmless unless you did stupid things. And what they did was pull out the pin and stand a few feet apart and play catch under the shade of those huge trees. Whoever chickened out was a yellow mother. And if nobody chickened out, the grenade would make a light popping sound, and they'd be covered with smoke, and they'd laugh and dance around and then do it again. It's all exactly true. It happened to me nearly 20 years ago, and I still remember that trail junction in those giant trees and a soft dripping sound somewhere beyond the trees. I remember the smell of moss. Up in the canopy there were tiny white blossoms, but no sunlight at all. And I remember the shadows spreading out under the trees where Kurt Lemon and Rat Kiley were playing catch with smoke grenades. Mitchell Sanders sat flipping his yo-yo. Norman Bowker and Kiowa and Dave Jensen were dozing, or half dozing, and all around us there were those ragged green mountains. Except for the laughter, things were quiet. At one point, I remember Mitchell Sanders turned and looked at me, not quite nodding, as if to warn me about something, and then after a while, he rolled up his yo-yo and moved away. It's hard to tell you what happened next. They were just goofing. There was a noise, I suppose, which must have been the detonator, so I glanced behind me and watched Lemon step from the shade into bright sunlight. His face was suddenly brown and shining. A handsome kid, really. Sharp gray eyes, lean and narrow-waisted. And when he died, it was almost beautiful. The way the sunlight came around him and lifted him up and sucked him high into a tree full of moss and vines and white blossoms. In any war story, but especially a true one, it's difficult to separate what happened from what seemed to happen. What seems to happen becomes its own happening and has to be told that way. The angles of vision are skewed. When a booby trap explodes, you close your eyes and duck and float outside yourself. When a guy dies, like Kurt Lemon, you look away and then look back for a moment and then look away again. The pictures get jumbled. You tend to miss a lot. And then afterward, when you go to tell about it, there is always that surreal seemingness, which makes the story seem untrue, but which in fact represents the hard and exact truth as it seemed. I'll stop there. I debated about stopping earlier. I know I probably read too long, but that particular story is amazing, and it goes on to kind of explain basically the role of fiction. If you've ever encountered somebody who says something like this, I know I've encountered a lot of people that say things like this, and if you're one of those people that say this, I apologize if I'm about to. Well, never mind. I don't care about that. Anyway, often when I tell people I read a lot of fiction, they'll tell me, oh, well, I only like to read things that really happened. And, they only want to read self-help books or nonfiction, as they call it, or something instructive. But I would argue that the real truth lies in fiction. A truer truth lies in a really good story, made up from stuff that really happened. Anyway, I love that. I love Tim O Brien's book, and kind of changed my life. My friend Jason Albright is here. Let's see what he has to say. Then he spits and stares. You always pick out the good parts, buddy. That's my good friend Jason Albright, who is mentioned in the first story of all the people coming and going at my place in Sacramento. He was there. All right. Boy, time flies, huh? I don't know about this reading thing, I always feel I like doing it an awful lot. But I just wonder. Oh, well, I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to play you. I might have played this before. I'm going to play it again tonight. This song is definitely haunted. And it's a Townes Van Zandt song. It's his most popular song. Townes Van Zandt said something once. Oh, hey. Nice. Great stories. Yes, there is no rectitude in war. Hey, Fern Suits. Hi. It was so good to see you the other night. Melanie and I were just discussing how great it was to see you. Thanks for being here. Is it silly for me to say we love you very much? We do. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the comments too, you guys. It keeps me. As much as I pretend I don't care, I care. It's nice to know people are viewing. So I'm going to play this Townes Van Zandt song. I heard Townes Van Zandt say this on the documentary about him, which is really hard to watch. But he says he wanted to write a song so good nobody knew what it meant. Oh, here's a message from Melanie to Seuss. Can't Fern Seuss. A little smiley, kissy face. Listening is therapy. Oh, thanks, Russ Little. Russ Little, too, is mentioned in the first story. He's the one that saved my guitar from Hawk. I'll never forget what you said, Russ Little. You said, I'm not going to let those fuckers get your guitar. Because I told him my Martin D28 was in Hawk in San Diego. I had hawked it for drugs money. And I was getting sober, but I didn't have money to get my guitar out of Hawk. And Russ Little, it was just a few days away, and I had come to terms with losing that guitar. I had I had told myself, well, you deserve it, and you're going to lose that guitar, and that's on you. And I told Russ Little without any intention of, I think I was just telling him that I was okay with it. And he said, I'm not letting those fuckers get your guitar. He said. So he drove me downtown and got my guitar out of Hawk. Thank you, Russ Little. And then he gave me another really nice guitar. Love you, man. Okay. Anyway, Towns Van Zandt said, I'm going to write a song so good nobody knows what it means, which is, I think, the opposite of a really good song. But this song does kind of seem like I don't know what it means, but I think it means you get what you deserve. I thought I was tuned, but I'm not. Living on the road, my friend, gonna keep you free and clean. Now you wear your skin like iron, your breath's as hard as kerosene. What your mama's only son, but her favorite one, he seems. She began to cry when he said goodbye. Sink into your dreams. Pancho was a bandit, boys, horse as fast as polished steel, wore his gun outside his pants for all the honest world to feel. Pancho met his match, you know, on the desert down in Mexico. No one heard his dying words. That's the way it goes. All the federales say could have had him any day. They let him slip away. Out of kindness, I suppose. Now Lefty can't sing the blues all night long like he used to. The dust that Pancho bit down south ended up in Lefty's mouth. Davy laid poor Pancho low. Lefty split for Ohio, where he got the bread to go. Ain't nobody knows. All the federales say would have had him any day, only let him slip away. Kindness, I suppose. How the poets tell how Pancho fell and Lefty's living in a cheap hotel. Desert's quiet and Cleveland's cold, so the story ends, we're told. Pancho needs your prayers, it's true, but say few for Lefty too. He just did what he had to do. Few great federales say had him any day. Only let him go so wrong. Kindness, I suppose. Few great federales say could have had him any day. Only let him go so wrong. Kindness, I suppose. Oh, there's Rick. Hey, Rick. Federales, that's right. That's Spanish for federals. I think. I'm on a 530 some day streak of practicing Spanish on Duolingo on my phone. I'm starting to suspect that it's bullshit. And it's just another excuse for me to be on my phone, which I'm always on. I'm ashamed of myself. I wrote a song called The Ballad of Dope and Coke. There's 3 parts. The first part, it's based on a poem. Oh, yes, that's right. I heard that you're connected, Rick. That's cool. It's good to know. It's good to have those connections. One day I'm going to ask a favor of you, Rick. You come here on the day of my daughter's wedding. That's my what's that guy's name? Marlon Brando. That's my best Marlon Brando impression. I wrote a song called The Ballad of Dope and Coke. It was called Motel Row for a while, but then I realized it was based on a poem I wrote called the poem was called, it had a different name for a while, but I ended up calling the poem The Ballad of Dope and Coke. So, getting back to the repetition of stories and the making up of stories, and anyway, I'm a recovering junkie, drug addict, and alcoholic. I've been sober for over 13 years now, and some of the people on this message or on this show on the broadcast tonight have only known me sober, including my wife, my wife's family, and some of my newer friends like John Light and Peter Condaxis have only known me sober. But then I have friends that have known, and Fern Seuss, they've only known me sober. And thank God my wife and child. But Jason Albright and I did a lot of time together in the trenches, and Russ Little knew me very well during those times, and they're still my friends, which means they're real friends. Anyway, I got sidetracked, but this poem is called The Ballad of Dope and Coke, and it goes like this. Rain spills from the roof and down the window as if there is no air, only water, and soon we will all be submerged. The latch rattles in the wind. Once when I was 5, I slipped along the bottom of an underground pool, that had been emptied out. And I fell backwards, striking the back of my head. It was like walking along the surface of the moon, which I've always wanted to do. Or maybe meandering the dunes of Mars in defiance of the atmosphere. Who cares if it rains, or if the wind becomes forceful enough to unwind me from my spot on the earth? I was never here anyway. I was always someplace else. And now that I have achieved greatness, I can spend all day staring into the expiring sun. The one thing I have never understood and have relied upon entirely to keep me from turning into stone. I couldn't stay in line, so I got out of line. Across the railroad tracks without ever looking back. Motel Row, one more time. There's a feeling that I get when I can't see what's coming next. Stepped up to the table and I placed a losing bet. Motel Row, I'm home again. Yes, there was a time when my life seemed to be just fine. Chaos and destruction, you were always on my mind. People, they seem to be so unkind. Motel Row, be alright. If you see me on the street, wonder why I look so beat. Always start out winning, but I end up in defeat. Motel Row, you saved my seat. Crawling around on the floor, always looking for a little more. Always wondered what was behind that door. Busted dreams of women and the solemn marks of men. Motel Row, you ain't my fucking friend. Motel Row, you win again. No, there's nothing you can do. No, there's nothing you can say to change my mind or correct my wicked ways. Motel Row, that's where I'm gonna stay. Yes, there was a time when my life seemed to be just fine. Chaos and destruction, you were always on my mind. Yes, my life was fine. On the surface you could see it shine. I was always looking for the glow of that neon sign. Motel room, motel room, motel room, be alright. Motel room, I'll be just fine. Let's see, we've got some new comments here. Let's see. Anton, congratulating. Well, thank you, Anton. I appreciate that. Hey, Anton, are you going to come see me in Cedar Grove, New Jersey next Saturday night? I think you should. New Jersey. Going to play a show at a place called Cedar Beans Coffee Joint in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. I think, Aunt Dawn, you should come and bring lots of friends. Bring Uncle Bob. That's what I think. Oh, look here. The poet, Sam Pereira. Great show, Mark. You're a master. Oh, thanks, Sam. Now, Sam, that's an honor. Sam is from my neck of the woods where I grew up. He is one of the legendary Fresno poets, and he's brilliant. You should get his books, and you should follow him on Facebook because he posts. You're so prolific, Sam. You're always just posting tons of great poems. I can't keep up. I write one poem every 5 weeks, and so in the tradition of the great Fresno poets, Sam is one of the best. So that is I'm going to save that. I'm going to screenshot that one, Sam. Thanks, man. Thanks for tuning in. We got to have you on the show. So I'm feeling much better these days. And so maybe next week you and I can do a practice run. Maybe we can have you on the show next week. Sam, you want to be on the show next week? Read some poems? We'd love to have you. Just to put you on the spot right now, on the air, live. Maybe we'll have Sam as a guest poet next week. That would be a real honor. And here's my lovely sister Franny with a little kissy face. And then let's see, Dawn. Oh, yeah? I'll look it up. Okay, that's a non-committal answer. I don't think it's a very good answer, Dawn. You can do better. Okay, we're almost done. We're nearing an hour. It's been a lovely time. I have to say, oh, right on, Sam. Okay, so next week, unofficially, we're going to have you on the show. So maybe next Monday or Tuesday, Sam, we could do a practice run, and then we'll have the great poet Sam Pereira on the show to read some poems. You don't want to miss that. Okay, beautiful. And then Aunt Dawn did laughing faces. Okay. Well, it's been really fun to be back. I have to say, I think I know I've said this a bunch, but taking 1 week off was really beneficial for my head space. I was starting to feel really shitty about the show. I was feeling like I was unprepared when I was doing it or something. I don't know what I was feeling. I was burned out. I had been sick for a long time, so I'm feeling much better now. I'm going to read you my newest poem. And then, Sam, later off the air, you can tell me what's wrong with it so I can fix it. But I wrote this poem recently. This is my newest one. I posted it on my website. You can see it on my blog. But this is my true war story. And it's called For Those Born to the Sound of Bombs. Thanks, Rick. Yes, feeling much better. Okay. For those born to the sound of bombs. This is a little epigraph here. It says, be kind, whoever you may be. Relieve our trouble. Tell us under what heaven we've come at last. That's from the Aeneid. Poem goes like this. Daily routine in the Catskills. Check the Wi-Fi connection. duck and dodge the American beech, musclewood, and birch, eventually blown down, besieged in a barrage of ice and wind. Electricity comes and goes, and there is a waiting that occurs that is central to the heart of insignificance and distraction. It is a blanket statement to say we are in a flat-out sprint from the city and the snow of endless television sets. All of that can find one anywhere now. The pestilence of information and opinion is the first thing I see in the morning and the last thing I see at night. And though the sky can be multitudinous, gray or blue in all directions, we are beneath something more minuscule and sinister. Look for ticks attached to the skin, ballooned and fat with blood siphoned quietly in the tiny cave of armpit or inner thigh, typically reserved for lover or caring mother, who usually find out, eventually, exactly what is wrong before the scrutinized do. An affliction parasitic in nature, but truly alive in symbiosis. Microscopic trouble balanced on a blade of grass. At the risk of sounding banal or trite, I will say this. It is in love we find out what we are worth, or risking, or reaching for in this God-forsaken place where children, through no fault of their own or anything they did, burst into this world screaming, and their first attempt to connect is drowned out by the sound of bombs, the endless ring of war, the blind desire for gold, always ending in dust. Recently, I lost control in my kitchen during an argument with my wife, and I threw 2 packages of crackers to the floor and stomped them to crumbs. In the aftermath and debris, I learned I could not walk, and my right foot, I thought at the time, was broken. It turns out I had damaged the nerves and was forced to lie on my back for a week. I lied and told everyone it was a freak accident. My wife stayed silent, and my daughter wondered why there were no more crackers. Some houses are louder than others, and some are just rubble where they used to be. In the nest, I saw a fire, and 3 baby birds slid down the tin awning to the hard earth, hoping they would land safely, or better yet, take to the air and be free. But the end is exactly what you might think. I hope you end up somewhere better than where you started. I hope it gets better. Shame on us. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to play one more song if you have it in you to stick around. I think it's important. I'm going to try this song. I'm going to end with a John Darnielle song, a Mountain Goat song. We started with John Darnielle and we'll end with him. Because he's a genius. Oh, there's my other sister, Vicky. Hi, Vicky. She did. I can't see. Is that a kissy face? Oh, it's a smiley face. In the poem, Vicky and Franny were the 3 baby birds, by the way. In case you were wondering. I have 2 older sisters. And we had a tumultuous house. Not as much as some, but it was enough. It was enough. It was enough to it was enough to require therapy, let's put it that way. So I'm going to play this John Darnielle song. This is a Mountain Goats song. It's called The Story of the Pigs Who Ran Straight Away into the Water in Their Great Triumph. It's off of the record. Let's see. Enough to stir it up. That's right, Vicky. Enough to stir it up. We were stirred up, all right. Anyway, this is a song off of the record We Shall All Be Healed, which is, in my opinion, I mean, you know, it's up there with Lou Reed in regards to great drug addict records. It's maybe one of the best. No, that's a title. What is it? Enough to Stir It Up? Yeah, there's a good painting title for sure. We're always on the lookout for a good painting title. All right, I'll try to wrap this up. I'm having such a nice time with you guys that I'm really drawing it out here. Thank you all for tuning in. This is a little song called, did I say the title already? I'm going to say it again. The story of the pigs who ran straight away into the water and their great triumph. They're going to send me back to where I came from. Please don't send me back to where I came from. Let me go. Let me lie low. They're gonna fit me for that orange jumpsuit. Please don't fit me for that orange jumpsuit. Let me fly where the dragonflies fly. Yeah, but you're gonna do what you wanna do. No matter what I ask of you, you think you hold the high hand. I've got my doubts, 'cause I come from Chino where the asphalt sprouts. Big bus headed southeast from the courthouse. I'm not headed southeast from the courthouse. Got some mysterious chunk of space debris. Puncture the roof and set me free. Even if I have to go to Claremont, but I guess I'll just have to go to Claremont. Let me go. Let me lie low. Yeah, but you're gonna do what you wanna do. No matter what I ask of you. And you sent your dark messengers to tempt me. I come from Chino, so all your threats are empty. All right. Let's see. What did Melanie say back here? No. The one. Oh, yeah. That is a good title. It's great on the record too, because I tried to say it that he says that's the way he says it. Please, he says the story of the pigs who ran straight away into the water and their great triumph. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking around. It was fun to see you guys tonight, and thank you. All right. Oh, so if you're in a Woodstock area, tomorrow night, I'm playing with my band at Pearl Moon. We start at 9:30. It's free, so you can come out. We're going to play for probably like an hour and a half, and I'm going to yell a lot, and we'll get down and dirty. It'll be fun. Let's see. We got some more comments. Okay, so now the phone. Can you try butterfly? No rainbow, no butterfly rainbow songs. Don, sorry, buddy. Gracias. De nada. Kathleen Francis. De nada. Gracias to you. Thanks for tuning in. If you're in the Woodstock area, come out to Pearl Moon tomorrow night. See, that's why I told you Duolingo's bullshit. I got flustered that you talked to me in Spanish and I didn't know what to say. Come out to Pearl Moon tomorrow night, 9:30. Me and the band will be there making a bunch of racket. And then Saturday night, if you're in the area, New Lebanon, New York, there's a benefit for Ukraine that goes from 6 to 11 at the ruins at Sassafras Farm. That's New Lebanon, New York. If you want details to that, you can reach out to me. I'll tell you about it. I'm playing with my buddy James Kirk for about a half an hour. So you can come out to that. And then next week, Saturday, May 7th, I'm in New Jersey at Cedar Beans Coffee Joint with my AJ, I don't know how to say your last name, AJ Scalf, who's a local guy from Cedar Grove, New Jersey. So we're going to play some songs. Thanks again for tuning in, and see you out there in the wide world.